Hello, Representative Poppy, and I will move your bill, House File 411, to be recommended to pass and re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Representative Poppy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm pleased to be here before you to seek money for the PFA and for Mr. Freeman gave just such a detailed description and gave us written information that's very helpful to know really what they do and how the money is spent. Throughout Minnesota, there's a need for wastewater services, as we all probably have some situations. Representative Gunther described his, and Representative Liz Lagarde. We've had a few different descriptions about what the needs are in Greater Minnesota. So we certainly know that making sure that we have wastewater treatment and wastewater funds and clean drinking water and all of those things are important to all of us throughout the state of Minnesota. And many of these things are coming due because when you started building, sometimes things don't last forever, and we have to make some accommodations for that. So what this bill does is it seeks $128 million in general obligation bonds for the PFA. And our House File 411 House Research does describe what that is, but I'm just going to detail it out so that people can know what we're looking for. So $128 million from the bond proceeds would help to fund $11 million for matching federal grants for the Clean Water Revolving Fund and the Drinking Water Revolving Fund. $55 million for grants to eligible municipalities under the Water Infrastructure Funding Program, and $62 million for grants to eligible municipalities under the Point Source Implementation Grants Program. And with me today is my city administrator. So we have Craig Clark from Austin, and he's going to be able to provide you some testimony on the need that my community has. So I appreciate the opportunity to have him testify.
Mr. Clark, welcome. Please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you. My name is Craig Clark, City Administrator for the City of Austin, as well as I'm here for the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. I serve on their board of directors. We appreciate Representative Poppy introducing this legislation, being the chief author, and the other folks that have co-authored this legislation. This is a vital piece of legislation to help our communities all across Minnesota. Our cities play an essential role in protecting Minnesota's waters and wastewater and stormwater systems, and we take those responsibilities very seriously. We do that every day at our wastewater treatment plant by discharging cleaner water out of the plant than is even the receiving body of water. The need for these funds is very high. According to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, over $5 billion is needed over the next 20 years to keep up with wastewater infrastructure needs. That number is difficult to estimate for cities as we're trying to deal with regulatory compliance and factoring those in as far as the equipment in the plant is concerned. Drinking water estimates are even higher than that of wastewater. Austin is in line to receive $1.3 million in a PSEG grant to address imminent public health threats to both surface and groundwater from failing septic systems impacting the Turtle Creek and Cedar River in Austin. This is a residential area that was annexed by the city with the council's understanding that we wanted to try to help the environment. It wasn't that we wanted to annex out of any necessity per se, but the area was having these troubles with their septic systems, and we wanted to provide some assistance to them as well as protect our neighboring water supply. We were all set to go until we got word of the legal challenge. We hope that this bill can move forward quickly so that we can address the environmental concerns. Austin's not alone. City of Hoyt Lakes needs to upgrade its facilities to remove mercury from the water flowing into Lake Superior, and the Great Lakes Initiative as part of its permit, and has been waiting for a PSEG grant and cannot move forward without this legislation. Little Falls is also waiting for $7 million in state grant to upgrade their wastewater facility and address phosphorus load to the Mississippi River. We've included in your packet a handout that outlines several other communities and their need. If you could take a look at that, we'd sure appreciate that and bring that to your attention. These projects are ready to go. and construction can begin this year in many instances. Delaying action on this legislation only continues to hurt the environment, and we'd plea for quick action on this request from Representative Poppe. Moreover, delaying funding for this really keeps a backlog of projects. Austin is also up for renewal of our wastewater treatment plant facility. We're currently in phase 2 facility design, and that's supposed to be completed by mid-March. Parts of our wastewater plant are as old as the 1930s, just to give you a sense of how old these facilities are. For planning purposes, we also estimate the improvements to be in the neighborhood of $40 million. So it also give you a sense of the magnitude of the cost that the city of Austin is looking at on behalf of our businesses and residents. Over the last several years, we appreciate the state's increased commitment to funding these programs. As has been mentioned, these are vitally important to partner with you and protect the waters of Minnesota. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Representative Anderson, or would you mind holding off? We can have the testifiers, and we'll get back to you. Thank you. Next up is Brad Ruse, General Manager from the City of Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe Mr. Rose isn't here, but I do have a stand-in.
Hi, Mr. Chair.
Welcome, Mr. Seifert. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Ruse was delayed with his wife's surgery, so I'm standing in. Since I'm from Marshall, it works well, I guess, for me to read his testimony, and then I'll have a little bit myself. My name is Marty Seifert. I'm Government Relations with the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to testify on House File 411. Thank you to Representative Poppe and many co-authors of this legislation, including our legislator, Representative Swazinski. I would note more effective than his predecessor for bringing this bill forward. Marshall Municipal Utilities is the water utility that serves Marshall, Minnesota, located in southwest Minnesota. Many jobs in Marshall require a lot of water to support them. Almost 1 billion gallons of water per year is produced from the wells drilled into the prairie around our community. The raw water is hard. Almost all water utility customers use an ion exchange water softening system within their homes and businesses, and these softeners are regenerating using a salt brine, resulting in a salty discharge into the community's wastewater treatment facility. The treated wastewater flows into the Redwood River, but the treatment process cannot reduce the salt content of the water. In Marshall, the amount of salt or chloride entering the Redwood River is limited by permit conditions in the community's permit issued by the MPCA. The wastewater treatment facility cannot remove the salt, so the only cost-effective way to reduce salt entering the river is to keep it out of the wastewater leaving the homes and businesses in Marshall. Marshall has designed a drinking water softening enhancement that will reduce the hardness of the treated drinking water from 35 grains to 6 grains using enhanced softening processes at our water treatment plant. The project is estimated to cost $10.6 million and will increase the already high cost of drinking water by more than $1 per 1,000 gallons. When finished, the amount of salt entering the river will be dramatically reduced, allowing the permit condition for chlorides to be met. In 2018, MMU worked with Minnesota Public Facilities Authority to qualify for grant dollars under the Point Sources Implementation Grant Program, or PSIG. 2018 legislature provided authorization to sell appropriation bonds in support of PSIG and other PFA programs. We have not received our grant, however, because the funds have been tied up in the recent lawsuit. Neither Marshall nor the affected community members of CGMC wishes to take any position on the merits of funding of PSIG from this source. Rather, we wish to fix last year's sources and provide necessary funding for PSIG in 2019 for the long list of water quality projects advanced by our communities. House File 411 by Representative Poppe would do this, and Marshall and many other communities are ready to invest in our water quality improvements across the state. So, Mr. Chair, that is Mr. Ruse's testimony. I'll just follow up with a couple items on our behalf of the coalition. As members know, this legislation seeks $128 million in GO bonds for the PFA. $62 million dedicated to the PSIG program, $55 million for WIF, and $11 million for federal matching grants in the Clean Water Fund. 128 million, people are wondering where did this come from. It reflects the amount that was requested for PFA last year that was not funded in GO bonds in last year's bonding bill. It does replace the $59 million that was funded through the appropriation bonds, but as all of you probably know, the lawsuit is holding that up, and so these grant programs are not being funded because the bonds are not being sold. And if the bonds are not sold, the dollars that were appropriated by last year's legislature cannot flow through the PFA to our communities. Cities throughout the state need to provide water services to their citizens, and this is a challenge for particularly small communities. The Metropolitan Council provides these services in the metro area. They are able to spread the costs among millions of people. However, it does also benefit the metro area because they are in line to receive some PSEG funding, and the Metropolitan Council Environmental Services receives clean water revolving funds from the PFA as well. So we do believe that this is a need, not a want. This legislature from last year passed a bonding bill we felt was good. It funded a lot of our programs, but because of the lawsuit, we are sitting right now with the large challenge of these programs being stagnant, and the costs of implementing these particular treatment plants is getting expensive, more expensive by the month. And the longer we wait, the higher cost we will have. So we would ask that House 5411 be recommended to pass and be referred over to the bonding committee for further consideration and hopeful passage this session. I can stand for any questions you might have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Seifert. I appreciate you pulling double duty today. We do have one more person on the list to testify, so we'll let him testify, and then if you can stick around, we can ask any questions that might come up. Thank you. And last up is Bill Black with the Municipal Utilities Association. Mr. Black, welcome, and please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Bill Black with the Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association. MMUA's mission is to unify, support, and serve as a common voice for Minnesota's municipal utilities. MMUA does not advocate against mandated effluent limits or drinking water, safe drinking water standards. In fact, Minnesota's municipal utilities are sort of where the rubber meets the road in terms of state policy for implementing the safe water policies that you come up with. But we do strenuously urge the legislature to fund the programs necessary to meet those important health and environmental requirements. And if I could, I would give you just one more anecdote from a community in southern Minnesota, Mountain Lake, with a population of 2,104. They are currently in the situation where they have 3 wastewater ponds, 1 large primary pond and 2 secondary smaller ponds that were constructed in the 1960s. And they have reached the capacity and the community has breached the need for more capacity to handle its wastewater. And that situation has been ongoing for some time now. In fact, 25 times, unfortunately, the PCA has had to impose a permit violation to the community due to the limited capacity. Fortunately, it understands the funding situation and has waived those fees pending new availability of funds. So what the community has sought is 2 new wastewater ponds that would be built with modern aeration for odor control, something more in line with 21st century needs. And 80% of the cost determined by the PFA's Point Source Implementation Fund would be a $2.75 million grant. And additional funding from the Water Infrastructure Program funded by this bill would help cover part of the remaining 20%. And the rest would come from an increase in sewer rates for the Mountain Lake residents. One thing that isn't, that maybe is unique to this situation is the land that would have to be purchased in order to build the new wastewater ponds is currently farmland, and the owners were uncertain last spring whether they should plant it or not because the funding was in the hands of the legislature. So the ongoing limbo of the funding currently means that they're uncertain again this year whether to include crops on this land in their farm business plan. So, you know, just one small anecdote among many stories of all the communities that would be funded under this bill. And just generally speaking, last year and for several years now, one of the top legislative priorities for MMUA has been funding for the programs under the Public Facilities Authority. We are often here at the legislature on behalf of electric and natural gas utilities, but more and more we need to be here to urge folks to understand the crisis that we're facing in terms of water and wastewater infrastructure funding. And so last year we thought that we had achieved some success to some degree in the funding for the PFA's priorities. However, this year we're back again to ask for last year's funding as well as the remaining amount needed to meet the needs calculated by the PFA. So we appreciate your Representative Poppy bringing this legislation forward. We urge your support and hope that we can move this funding forward and move on to more funding needs for these same priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. All right, member questions. First up, we have Representative Anderson. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just looking over the handout sheet that had the map of the state and those 8 projects on there that was handed out during testimony. And the one that kind of pops out at me, and I'm not picking on Little Falls, but their project cost was the highest of the ones on this list. It has to do with reducing phosphorus discharge into the Mississippi River. And just wondering if anybody here would have any details as to the amount of reduction that would be attained from a cost of that expense. And I think back to the city of Alexandria. Last year, they were looking at having to spend, I think, $14 million to reduce phosphorus discharge. And it wasn't a real large reduction. But they worked with the MPCA, did a good job of coming up with a plan that may reach that same goal with a far lower cost. So just wondering if some of these projects, if they look at a cost-benefit analysis and if there may be a cheaper way to achieve these same results, and just happen to see that one because the cost is fairly high.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. It looks like Mr. Seifert's coming to the table. Mr. Seifert.
Mr. Chair, Representative Anderson, I do have a letter from the city of Little Falls. I can probably have the staff maybe make copies later and distribute to you, but they have had a high phosphorus level there. They also have an aging infrastructure, so it's not all about, I mean, this is a mixture of regulation and aging infrastructure. It's not all one or all of the other, but they do have a fairly high phosphorus problem there. They are expected to get a $7 million grant. I think, as all of you know, the PSIG program largely deals with phosphorus cleanup. And so when the lawsuit hit and the appropriations bonds were aimed to fund the PSIG program in particular, those programs like Little Falls were all kind of knocked down. So whether there's a cost-benefit analysis, Mr. Freeman might know if something was related to that. They do have to do a facilities plan through the PFA to justify the dollars being spent. So everybody who's on Mr. Freeman's list has to go through a fairly rigorous facilities plan to justify it.
Okay.
All right. Other member questions? Mr. Seifert, I heard you, and I heard a couple other members whisper about this a little bit. Can you just talk about the lawsuit that you were referencing in your testimony?
Mr. Chair, I can, and I'm not a lawyer, but I can pretend to be one here momentarily.
Legislature.
Don't start
So the legislature last year, Mr. Chair, for those who are not freshmen on the committee, I think most people were here as members last year. Representative Brand maybe wasn't. But you were city councilman, so you're aware of this as well. The legislature last year passed a bonding bill that had a portion of the PFA funding funded out of appropriation bonds from the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. Appropriation bonds are non-general fund bonds backed by a different revenue source that may come into play. In this particular case, the money flows through the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, which is a recurring amount of money. The interest rate is higher if you argue on the fiscal side of things. But the legislature, like it or not, made this decision. And so we don't take a position whether this was good or bad. but a group of environmental organizations came together last fall before the bond sale and filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit was not dispensed with or agreed to be heard by the court, so it's just kind of sitting there. Commissioner Franz, in my opinion, rightfully didn't sell the bonds because nobody's going to buy these things when they're caught up in litigation. And so, the executive branch is not particularly contesting this aggressively right now. It's sitting in limbo. And so the bonds are not being sold, the PFA is not being funded, the communities are not getting their money for these particular grants. And, the legislature could have a hearing on this or whatever to try to get that figured out. In the meantime, regardless of thoughts in the lawsuit, all of these projects are getting more expensive and are being held up. And so it is a bit of a quandary. We would like that lawsuit resolved one way or another. I mean, potentially, if the court even hears this and it's litigated through the spring and the summer, you're still looking at potentially a 1 to 2 year delay. And then if the bonds are sold, you have to go through the bond selling process with Moody's and Standard & Poor's. They may not get sold until the fall of the following year of the litigation settlement. So, we just are very frustrated as a cities group that we can't wait around for this process to resolve itself through the other branch of government, the other two branches, frankly, that need to be dealing with this. This branch did its job last year. Whether people agree with it or not, they have to figure that out for themselves. So now we're coming back to this branch of government and asking them to dispense with this in the only way I think that they know how, which is to do a GO bond program.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Seifert. Any other member questions? Yes, Representative Lehman.
Yeah, this might, thank you, Mr. Chair, might be a question for you or maybe the author of the bill. This bill was referred to us, obviously, from Ways and Means. Where does it go? If it passes us here today now, where does it go?
It will go back to Ways and Means. I understand that Chair Hansen has also requested to hear the bill, so I assume Ways and Means would then, by memo, refer it to Environment and Natural Resource Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then it would go back to Ways and Means from there?
Thank you, Representative Lehman. Yes, it would go back to Ways and Means and then ending up in capital investment.
Okay. I need a diagram, but, okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Additional questions? Seeing none, are there any other? Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Brand.
Well, just a comment. I just wanted to mention that in my district, there's the Lake Jefferson wastewater association that's in need of funding in order to be compliant with their needs, and they can't, again, with that lawsuit. And so whatever we can do to do with money and then with the PISTEG grants as well, I'm very supportive of getting this stuff done because there are a lot of good projects that are meant to be compliant projects that are being held up right now.
Thank you, Representative Brand. This is a public hearing. Are there any other members from the public who wish to testify for or against House File 411? Seeing none, I will renew my motion that House File 411 be recommended to pass and re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. The motion prevails, and House File 411 is recommended to pass and be re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Thank you, Representative Poppy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.